Okay, so in the next set of videos that I'm going to do, I'm going to cover side cover, top cover, offset shaft, the quiz one, reference geometry exercises, as well as exercises 5 through 8. So I'm going to do videos on each of those. This video is for the side cover, specifically on pages 87 to 100. So again, we've talked about how we orient our models within the three coordinate planes. This side cover that starts on page 87, the way you see the isometric view, it's clear that that big circle is going to be in this front plane. But we aren't doing an extruded boss this time, and so while we would normally select the front plane to create this, since this is a revolved feature, we need a plane perpendicular to the front plane in order to get the part to end up in the right spot. So we're actually going to select this right plane because there's going to be an axis here, and this part is going to end up wrapping around it. So I'm going to select the right plane, and I'm going to go ahead and sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in this area because this is where we're going to make our sketch. And the book tells us to make a couple of corner rectangles starting at the origin. So there's my first rectangle, and the second one starts right where this one ends at the corner. And so now we have two rectangles, and again their size doesn't matter because we'll smart dimension it to the right place. What matters is that these lines are collinear, and everything's lined up to the origin here. Next, they show us that we're going to learn how to use the trim entities. So here's trim entities. You can pick it directly from that button or select it out of the menu. Power trim allows you to trace a spline or any type shape with your mouse, and anything that spline crosses is going to disappear. So if I start down here and draw this way, these two lines disappear, and what I'm left is this little segment right here. So that's how you get rid of some of these excess lines. But now notice when you want to do any type of extrude or revolve, you have to have a closed contour, and this is open. There's no line right here. To close it, I'm going to use extend entities, and I'm just going to click on this little line here, and when I do, it's now all the way here and closed. So now I have a closed shape, and the only thing I need to do is dimension it. Again, it's there's a certain way to dimension these more complex contours so that you don't get your geometry flipped all around. And what I usually do is I'll dimension the longest ends first. So this one, excuse me, is supposed to be 1.625 if you're looking at page 92. And then this side is supposed to be that's supposed to be 0.75, but that may cause things to flip. So let me do this side first. This side is supposed to be 0.125 because again I don't want my geometry flipping around on me. Okay, now I'm going to do this long side. This is supposed to be 0.75. And hit there. And then now my last dimension, this is supposed to be 1/2 inch, so I'll make this 0.5. Okay, so now I have my sketch exactly the way I want. And I'm going to exit my sketch, and when I go to an isometric view, see I have it, let's zoom in on this more, maybe even a little more. Okay, so here's that front plane where I know when I get done revolving this, it's going to occupy the front plane as if it's laying against it. So my sketch is ready to go, and what I want to do is revolve this boss. The first thing it asks you for is an axis of revolution, around what edge or axis are you revolving it. And it turns out we're going to revolve around this one, and it already gives you a preview of what that looks like. So that's very helpful. When you don't see a preview, that means something is wrong with your contour, and you're going to have to go in and either figure out exactly where the contour is not closed, or where you might have an extra line or another line crossing another line. There's a bunch of different things that can go wrong, but if you do not get this preview, then something is wrong. This one will be blind all the way around 360. You can do this to lesser degrees. If I wanted to do this 180, you know, I could, and that way I get half of it, but I do want the full 360, so I'm going to make that 360, and now I've got my whole thing, and I'm just going to hit my check mark, and now I have my base feature. So what we have accomplished is that we do have this oriented the correct way as far as the isometric view is concerned, but instead of selecting the front plane and extruding out in this direction, we actually selected the right plane and did a revolve perpendicular to that, and it ended up in the front plane. Again, it's very important to know in what orientation your part's going to end up when you get done extruding or revolving. Okay, so now the next feature is just to create a you know, an extruded cut. We've done this a few times, and the book is starting to do things in a different order. Usually we select extruded cut, and then we do the sketch and so forth. But you know, lately they've been asking us to just do the sketch and then select the type of feature we want to create after that. So again, when you're dealing with sketch, it won't orient you in the correct direction after your first feature. So you always got to go to this little normal to symbol. Now we can draw our circle. We get the origin to show up. I'm going to hit check. I want to smart dimension this. And this hole is supposed to be 0.625. Check. And exit sketch. And again, I'm going to go to an isometric view. So you can see it's right there. So we're done with the sketch. Now we got to decide what feature we're making. So, you know, we're not going to revolve the cut. We're going to extrude the cut. And again, a little indicating arrow tells us it's going in the right direction, but we want it to be through all, so it goes through the whole part, and then we have what we want. Okay, so what we need to do next now is to create a pattern of holes. They show us a couple different ways to do it, and you know, there really is no one way better than the other way. It's just personal preference. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch this. I'm going to select this sketch surface, this sketch plane. I'm going to select sketch, and again I'm going to go normal to, so I can see what I'm doing. And it shows us that we can use a center line, or we can use a bolt hole circle pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and do the bolt hole circle pattern because I'm not certain many people understood it when I did it the last time. So again, I'm just going to sketch a circle, but notice I'm going to select this for construction box, and that gives me a dash circle. So that means this is going to be part of our profile, so we won't get any rebuild errors or anything like that. So once it becomes a reference, it's kind of hidden. Next, I'm going to create a regular circle that represents the whole, and see the little diamond shape that shows up at the quadrant of the circles. So what's really nice is I can snap to that and draw my circle and say check. So now I can smart dimension, and I can smart dimension my bolt hole circle, which is supposed to be 2.75. And then I'm going to dimension that hole, which is supposed to be 0.25. And I'm going to say check. I'm going to exit my sketch. Again, if you look at this in isometric view, you can see you got your sketch in the correct plane. And now that you have the sketch, and as long as it's highlighted, if I say extrude cut, it shows me what that looks like. Again, you should say through all, and hit check. And so now I have my hole. So the last thing it wants us to do is to pattern that hole. And we're going to have 6 of those. So again, I recommend you select the feature to be patterned, then you select circular pattern, and it wants to know first thing, you know, it says, have you listed all the features you want pattern? And yes, we have. And now the next thing it wants to know is, okay, what axis? We could have created a reference geometry axis here, but we didn't. But we can use any cylindrical surface. So I'm grabbing this surface, and at default, it thinks I want 4 holes. I actually want 6 at equal spacing. And then I say check, and I've now created that pattern. Finally, the last feature is 1/8 inch radius. So fillet, so I'm going to select fillet. It's going to be a constant size, and we want it to be an eighth, so that's 0.125, not 0.1. And then we're just going to select this edge and make sure it's a really thick orange line. If you get a skinny line, that means you've selected a surface, so make sure you're on top of that thing. And then select that, and now we have our radius. And last action is to change the material. So we're going to edit the material, and the material is to be AISI 1020. So we'll select that, select apply, close, and you can see we have AISI 1020. And now we'll do a save as, and we'll call this the side cover JMH. You put in your initials and then upload that to me.